Hello, my name is Ryan Goulart, and this is my second video log for my TE150 Global Learning Project. So initially in my first video log, I talked about meeting with a boy by the name of ZG Chow, Elliot. Um, our meeting kind of got messed up. We never really were able to find a time that worked. So I ended up picking a new partner for this project who I actually met in the cafeteria last year, kind of reestablished a connection this year, and we ended up doing the interaction together. He agreed to meet me, and it worked out great. Um, so his name is actually Jinzi Zhu, but he likes to be called George. That's what he picked for his English name. Um, and I proposed the idea of football to him, and he was all hyped about it, wanted to go, but it actually was kind of crummy weather that day, and he had injured his ankle or back or something like that, and wasn't able to play football. So instead, on Wednesday, October 7th, we went bowling together at the Union, which actually turned out to be a lot better than I had initially expected. Um, so we started out by going to the dairy store. That's where we met each other. And he got ice cream, and we sat down and talked a little bit, just to talk about the project, what I wanted to learn, what he wanted to learn, what he thought about it. And that's when I kind of felt the strongest, I guess, positive emotion. We were talking about, his life in China, and he kind of talked about how even though he realizes he's from China, now that he's in America, he kind of doesn't want to go back. He'd rather spend his life here. And he talked about, just the way he grew up and things that he witnessed through his life really pushed him towards that decision of wanting to live in America rather than China. Um, so that was kind of like the strongest. Um, I guess it would technically be a negative emotion. He was talking negatively about China, um, but at the same time, it's a positive emotion because he's thinking about how good America was. Um, so then after he finished his ice cream, we went downstairs and went bowling. Um, and that's when I initially realized that there was going to be some room for some accommodation. When you walk downstairs in the Union towards the bowling, you see a sign that's basically for Spartan Lanes. And initially, when he saw that sign, he brought up the point of like pool or ballards. Um, and he had said that at home, whenever there's that sign, it basically means, that there's like a pool table around. Um, Even though he had never really seen a bowling lane. He'd heard of them, he'd seen pictures, but he'd never been to one. So when I realized that he recognized that bowling sign as a pool, that was when I kind of realized there was going to be some room for accommodation. Um, and two things that really surprised me from this were, one, there wasn't as large of a language barrier as I had initially anticipated. Um, Really, he's quite good at speaking English. And two, he really quickly picked up bowling, a lot faster than I had initially thought. He got really competitive towards the end as well, and you know, really picked up on the rules and the scoring and everything. So the two things I'd like to talk about next time, more in depthly at least, are what they do for China. He talked a lot about ballards and or pool, whatever you want to call it. But he also talked about like video games and stuff like that. And the second, I actually would like to play pool with him just to, see how big of a part of his life that was. And so here are some of the pictures I took. That's me and George holding the ball. That's George learning to score the card. Same thing. This is him getting ready to bowl, and that's him actually bowling. So, I mean, overall, I thought the experience was really positive. Everything went as planned, and I'm really looking forward to a second interaction. So, thank you, and with that, I'll see you next time.